The 2025-26 season is upon us, with the Thunder's offseason only featuring around 100 total days because they played all the way until June 22nd for a grand total of 100 games. A season for the ages, with 68 wins and a historic margin of victory, one of the greatest defenses ever, and the first championship in Oklahoma City history. And now going into this season, there's talk about 73 wins and how good this team is, while also paradoxically noting that there hasn't been a repeat champion since 2018, and in fact, the last 7 champions haven't even advanced past the second round. Why is that?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, a lot of reasons, as there often is, but one to dial in on here is, think about how a postseason run can extend or end in an instant. Go back to Game 6 in 2024 in Dallas. The Thunder led that game by double digits in the second half and took the lead on an alley-oop from Shea to Chet with 20 seconds left.
Switch, Lively's got him. He drives, floats it up, and the throwdown. Holmgren gives.
Let's go into an alternate universe where SGA pulls his arm back and doesn't foul PJ Washington, and Washington misses that 3. I know, hard to believe with how he played in that series. But the Thunder then even the series and now have a Game 7 at home in the second round. And remember what happened in the last one of those?
Even the shots that are short now going in for SGA, 35 points. They'll empty the bench and listen to this roar.
The next round, they would have seen the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then, who knows? The point is, every season has these inflection points. The best teams overcome them more than the others because they can create some luck on their own or push through the bad breaks when they get them, or create a big enough margin where it doesn't matter. But there are also times where it is what it is, and a bounce or a call, an injury, a something is a deciding factor. That's just sports. So coming off a championship, still extremely fun to say that by the way, there's naturally elevated expectations. They've done it already, so do it again. And yes, this team should be very, very good. 14 of 15 players are back, and so many of them are still so young with developmental leaps coming every season. I think of a player like Chet, who has barely scratched the surface of his true potential as a two-way force. But some of that will be luck-based, mainly in his availability, because, you know.
The best ability is availability. Spell it. You see, almost.
So as we get ready for what promises to be a fun season, the 18th one, by the way, with a ton of great games and moments and memories to come, with who knows what is ahead on this beautiful blank canvas that is the continuing Thunder story. Let's go back and look at 18 ways the Thunder almost weren't entering this season as the defending champs, because I think that's important to remember as they go into this season. Number 1, 2 key early injuries. First, Isaiah Hartenstein's training camp injury. The biggest free agent signing in Thunder history broke his hand in training camp and had to have surgery, causing him to miss the first month and a half of the season. The Thunder, though, were still 11-4 when Hart returned, and a lot of that had to do with how awesome Chet was in the first month. But, of course, 10 games in, Chet went down with a potentially season-changing injury. The Thunder had to play 2 full weeks without a healthy big man at all, with J-Dub jumping tip, and of course, they survived that period of time. Hart came back November 20th and made an instant interior impact, but Chet wasn't back for another few months, and of course, there was clearly a reacclimation process for them. Chet had to regain his conditioning and sharpness, and they both had to adapt to finally getting to play together. And thankfully, that pairing worked out because of their mindsets and their skill sets, but it certainly could have went the other way without a lot of time to prepare. Number 2, April 9th at Phoenix. The Thunder quietly had a good amount of adversity to overcome in the regular season, but heading into the playoffs seemed to be positioned as healthy as anyone. With a monster lead in the West standings, They were managing and resting players down the stretch, getting ready for the postseason. And then, on April 9th, at Phoenix, on a night he scored 33 points, Dub secretly hurt his wrist on a tied-up jump ball. There was a fork in the road, with a surgery option or a play through it option. The latter having a ton of unknowns attached to it. So many of the questions around the postseason centered on Dub to start with, and how he'd support SGA as a second scorer. And now, he was going to be doing that with one hand. Number 3, the easy thing to point out that could have gone different in the Memphis series was Ja Morant's unfortunate injury. But beyond that, the Grizzlies were still a couple plays away from forcing a tense Game 5, with it being 2-2 back in OKC. I'm not saying that the Grizzlies had the Thunder figured out here, by the way, but the Thunder dominated the first 2 games, but trailed by 30 in Game 3 before Chet was awesome in the second half, and OKC held Memphis to only 31 points. Game 4 was tight again, but Alex Caruso made some game-changing plays. I'm just saying that series could have been a little tighter. Number 4, the Denver series. A few from this one. First, Game 1. Of course, there's an alternate reality where Chet makes both free throws, where Aaron Gordon misses that shot on the wing, and the Thunder are up 2-0 in the series and on track to handle the Nuggets comfortably. But that's not what happened. Down 0-1 with a ton of pressure, OKC responded. But then Game 3 featured another Gordon shot, and the Thunder offense bogging down in crunch time and overtime.
Wide open, Gordon for the tie. Got it.
Down 2-1, kind of everything on the line, there was a big Game 4 on the road. So, number 5, what if Aaron Wiggins and Cason Wallace don't save basketball in the second half? OKC couldn't hit anything from 3 in Game 4, and it was slipping away as the Thunder were behind double digits. Game 4 was very much trending toward a 3-1 deficit, but those shots went, and the Thunder snapped together better execution late. But what if Denver doesn't have that horrible 5-second violation coming out of the timeout? That sequence where after that call, SGA's jumper followed it, and it was as season swinging as anything. Number 6, Game 5. It's simple. What if Lou Dort doesn't save the season? What if he goes 1 for 3 there and not 3 for 3? And really, let's rewind it back before that. Let's get a little existential. What if the Thunder hadn't spent years cultivating and developing Dort, embracing those type of moments in games no one was watching back in 2022, hoping that one day, maybe it would pay forward to something bigger? Game 5 was the quintessential stacking days game.
Lou Dort got a 3.
Number 7, or what if Dort doesn't save that loose ball with 4:42 left?
Down, Dort somehow saves it for Williams. Over to Williams. Holmgren.
Number 8, I think a lot about Chet's shot with 4:07 left that bounced in extra time on the rim, causing Jokic to mistime his rebound attempt and allow Hartenstein a putback. What if that hits the rim a little differently and it's a stop for Denver and not a tie game with 4 minutes to go? 9, and of course from Game 5, which honestly, maybe the greatest game in Thunder history given what transpired later, but Dub's wing 3 to answer what felt like a back-breaking suplex from Jokic. Dub screaming at his wrist was all of us, trying to exercise every demon possible. But what if Dub's wrist gets in the way of that one going in? Or what if Dort decides against the extra pass there and fires away himself, which he had every right to do after his barrage earlier, and now the other threes were just a flicker, lost to the history of the wrong side of what is. The combination of the Dort threes and then him passing up a good shot for a great shot later is honestly one of the great sequences of true player development you'll ever see, all in the biggest moment. 10, then Game 7, their first one. The Thunder were ready for it and blew the doors off Denver with AC's demon mode defense on Jokic, but Game 7s can go either way. And don't forget, Aaron Gordon admirably played on one leg in that game. I don't know if it would have mattered given the outcome, but I also don't know that it wouldn't have. Number 11, Game 3 in Minnesota. The Thunder got destroyed. History was saying champions don't lose by 42 in the playoffs. That could have rattled a lot of teams, which, number 12, Game 4 was an emphatic response. But it also could have gone the other way. Really, if just one of those second half shots doesn't drop, where the Thunder answered everything from Minnesota, And that game feels different. Or with 5:30 left, after Caruso set a moving screen, and Edwards had a great look from three that rattled in and out that would have tied the game. What if that drops? Instead, OKC got a stop, and SGA responds with a tough fadeaway to get it back to 5.
SGA playing like an MVP.
Or if SGA's foot just drags a little bit and it's a travel, instead of him getting off a pass between Jaden McDaniels' legs to set up Dub for 3. It was real close to being 2-2 instead of the closeout party that was Game 5 in OKC. Number 13, now the finals. Game 1 was a lot like Game 1 against Denver. Solid lead the whole game, bad execution late, and a shot to watch it get stolen off your fingertips, which put OKC in a situation where it needed a split in Indy now. In Game 3, it didn't happen, so again, all the eggs were in the basket of Game 4. And if that game goes the wrong way, number 14, with 6:09 left, Mike Breen says it perfectly.
These are the signature moments in the pursuit of a title. One team a chance to go up 3-1, the other team to even it up and regain home court advantage. We're midway through the fourth.
First play after that, first moment. SGA dumps it off to Hart, who gets stripped, but is able to recover it and lay it in. A bounce away from a crushing turnover that instead was 2 massive points. 15, after Halliburton's layup with 3:21 left, OKC was down 4 and in desperate need of an answer. They couldn't hit a 3 all night, and that's when SGA and Dub got into a 2-man game, and SGA hit maybe the biggest 3 of his life to bring it to 1. That shot doesn't go down. But number 16, SGA's shot with 2:27 left. Of course, what if it doesn't go in? But also, what if Scott Foster doesn't officiate it correctly and gets confused by the awkwardness of SGA's gather and mistakenly calls it a travel? Then number 17, what if Ben Mathurin makes his free throws? And on one of them with 20 seconds left, what if Dub falls just a little differently and isn't able to pop right back up and then score 40 in Game 5? And make this 3, by the way, with 8:08 left, that I'm still pretty sure actually missed. And then, of course, Game 7, number 18, with the most obvious of all, Halliburton's horrific, horrible, terrible injury. The Pacers were behind when it happened and actually led the game at halftime, but there's no doubt the game was dramatically changed. But within it, there's the Dort prayer that somehow went in, while it was still a 1-point game and the tension extremely high for OKC, or the Dub 3 that capped the separating run that bounced around the rim 3 times and fell in to give OKC a 9-point lead. A few of those things go the other way, and Game 7 might have been razor-thin tight, and with the Pacers now playing with nothing to lose without having Halliburton, and OKC also having the immense pressure of blowing it at home with no Halliburton, who knows? But guess what? None of that happened. The Thunder won. They won the title. They got some breaks. They manifested some of their own luck. They made the plays. They endured the postseason. They made it through. And they did it at large because they were the best team in the NBA from start to finish last season. And now, to do it again, to break this precedent, you're going to have to be on the right side of some of that luck again. And you're also going to have to be really good to be able to create some of it on your own. The rest of the league spent 3 months scheming on how to stop OKC, how to break through their defensive wall. It's on the Thunder now to continue to do what got them here in the first place. Day by day, getting better, stacking them up, and breaking through all over again.